I like this topic. And then the subtopic is abuse. The reason why I like relationship goals because the majority of you are younger than me, and some of you guys are, as in everyone, some of y'all are stuck, and it is my duty to you know enlighten you as an older person who's been through some of what you're going through, and or will go through. And I think that's the job of any older person towards a younger generation. So, for one, I'm not the guru of relationships. Now, I'm not even in one right now. But let's talk about abuse. Now, my first introduction to abuse was watching my stepfather and my mother uh, fight. And I wasn't sure what it was. All I knew is there was somebody that I didn't like physically fighting with someone I love dearly. And I'm too young to do anything about it. I'm too young to stop it. Eventually, one day I had had enough and I saw them go at it. You know, basically, there were six kids in the house and two adults. We poor, we going through it. But, I'm in my room. My brothers, we were all in the same room. My sisters all had the same room. We're in our room talking about school or whatever. And we hear this boom. We all come running out, and we see my mom on the floor with two knives in her hands, and my stepdad on top of her with a, look like a shovel to her neck or whatever. And yeah, that was it for me. I had enough. Once we broke it up, uh, when I went back into my room, my brothers, my older brother, he had his own bed, and me and my younger brother had bunk beds. You know, we're kids. I'm like 13, 14. We all were shaken by what we saw, and I was the first to speak. I said, "Okay, how we gonna kill him?" That's the first thing. That's the first thing I said. Let me tell you something. No child. That's immediately where my mind. Now, to say that I was upset was an understatement, but I was more than upset. I was finished. I had had enough. Now, I didn't go through with anything, but my younger brother was with me. He was just like, because my older brother was like, we not going to do nothing. And we both said, shut up. We told him to shut up. That was our immediate action. Like, shut up. Like, we're tired of this. We're tired of seeing our mom go through this. And, but my mom loved him. See, this was the thing that stopped the whole, for one, we would have definitely got hurt. But we didn't care about getting hurt. We cared about defending our mother. But this was the thing. We knew that our mother loved him. He wasn't a boyfriend, he was a husband. They were married legally. All the way, jumped the broom, whole nine, church, all that. They were married. This wasn't somebody who was in and out of her life. This wasn't a guy who was, just coming over to do whatever. And then we didn't see this dude. This was somebody who lived in the house with us. And they were married all the way, husband and wife. So uh, it's not so it just wasn't so easy to say, all right, we're gonna do this. because we knew that our mother was just like that. This is her husband, and we watched him. One day, the police came and got him, and we watched him have a mental breakdown, for real with it. So when the police came to get him, he was doing all this martial arts stuff to him, but he didn't hit them. He was just making sure they didn't like get a hold of him. And my mother had another friend. I think her name was Cheryl, and she was like helping him out, like just go with him so you can get better. And I remember my mother being, out the four-story window where we lived on the fourth floor, and she was crying just watching him. And finally, he went with her, with the police. They took him away. Like he didn't hurt the police. He was just like, "Get off me," type, and doing all this stuff. Like, nah, like y'all can't handle me. But the police wasn't trying to gun him down or nothing like that. So this wasn't a police issue. They basically there because a unit was called, and they were like, "We're gonna help you," and he was like, "Nah," like, but he was having a mental breakdown. And my mother was crying. When we saw all this, we knew that my mom loved him. There was no removing him without removing a part of her. And eventually they got divorced and separated. And, when I turned 17, I did get into a fight with him. I lost, but I did fight him. But the abuse that was issue. Now he's passed away because his mind eventually convinced him that jumping into a river was, how he should end his life, and that's exactly what he did. So, you know, he went to the river that we used to fish at. What's going on, little Steve, Big Steve? Yeah, he just cut the grass. Yep, right.
All right, man. I think
Yes,
we got
sir.
the coastline.
Again?
We got a free pass.
Heck yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Anytime
Absolutely.
I'm off, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I might as
absolutely.
last time I had baby girl with me, so it was a little tough.
Oh,
This
okay.
time now we can, do some
Right,
bigger boy stuff. You know
right.
what I mean?
That's what's up. So, but anyway, so he used to take us downtown and fish at I think it was at Point. We used to go to the Point in Pittsburgh, and this is where they call it the Point. So he went down there and he took out his wallet so people could identify him, and he jumped into the river and passed away. Now, I was already gone. I was in the service. I was gone, and it didn't come to a surprise to me that he did that because abuse. Let me tell you something. For one, abuse is a spiritual thing, and I found myself on both sides of that. And what I mean is, I found women who, like, cause I'm a really nice guy, but I found women who wanted to be abused. And then, in order to, I don't know, I was so infatuated with some of them, like, I wanted to be around them, so I found myself using my strength against them. Now, this wasn't me kicking her behind and nothing like that, although I don't let a woman hit me. You hit me, hey, don't ever put your hands on me. You know, I didn't have to, shake a few up like, I didn't have to shake a few babies. He's, shake them like a little kid, like a toddler or something. Don't shake toddlers. But nonetheless, I didn't have to pick a few of them up because they took my meekness for weakness. And eventually, I didn't have to grab a couple of these ladies up and like once they found out they no longer had control of their body, they was like, oh, okay. He is 6'2", 200 something pounds. I don't let a couple of them know. Looks, I'm nice. I'm a sweet dude. I like being nice. I like being sweet. I like being a loving person, and I don't like using my strength against a woman. But if you make me do it, I absolutely will. I'm not going to sit there and let you hit me any old kind of way. So I found myself on both sides of abuse, having to protect myself from abusive people. I mean, I literally would get hit by, I got hit by a chick before and was just like, "What you hit me for?" I'm just sitting there watching TV, just come in and man, I lost my doggone mind. And but I didn't beat her up. But I pinned her to the bed so fast, and I was looking at her like, if you ever hit me, ever, you're gonna have a bad day. And once she tried to scratch my eyes out because I left her. She was a cheater, and I got tired of it. And I warned her. I said, "You better stop doing that. Looking at men every chance you get when I'm around." I was like, "All right, I'm done with you." Got my own place right across from hers. She was heated. She wanted me to stay with her so she can keep being abusive towards me. And I was just like, I'm young and handsome. I'm not gonna sit here and let you keep doing this to me. And I warned you several times. I remember one time we went out to the club, and we in there together. We're dressed alike, and we're at the bar. I'm getting ready to get her something to drink, and she's all cheesing at this dude who's like right beside her, like right beside us. This dude is knocking on me, and she's letting him. I lost my mind. I lost my grip, and this turned her on. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not an abusive person. I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? If you like a hand around your neck when you're getting busy, okay, fine. But don't make me angry because that's not sexy to me. But I find out a lot of women like this. And it's not because they've been abused. It's not because their mother has been abused. It's not because their father was abusive or something happening. All these, when things happen to women now, they bring up something that happened in the past that never happened. This happened to me and I did. Never happened. This never happened. This is a lie. When you start looking at some of these people's relationship, and especially when it comes to the court system, they say this happened to them and that happened to them. Then a real good lawyer will go and start digging and trying to find out if it really happens. Comes to find out it never happens. This is a female excuse to I was abused and all this other. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You're just demented, and that spirit has got into your mind, and you want a person to be demented towards you. You want somebody to be abusive towards you, and then when you finally see that person turn on you, and actually when you're finally introduced to what abuse is, then you want to call the cops because you're like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. I didn't know that this a constant ass whooping. I didn't know that. I didn't know that I'm gonna leave the house looking way different than what I expected to. I did not know that my face was gonna be rearranged, that I was gonna have hospital visits, my hair was gonna be missing, my friends were not gonna recognize me. Oh, no, 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 no. See, they don't know none of that, but they think abuse is cute. It's not. Abuse is not cute. Hold on a second. Nothing cute about it. Nothing cute about abuse. When they get a taste of abuse, when they get just a little bit of it, and it goes past, you know, what they thought. They want these guys with these tattoos because it looks, oh, you just got out of jail. which I don't know what this equates to females, but you're hardcore. You can protect me, protect you. How? You know, that's what they think. If somebody messes with me, oh, you can go and do something about it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that facade. I done seen plenty of dudes with tattoos get beat up. And you know why they got beat up? Because they got set up by their woman. Their woman has this sycophantic fantasy, and then when it comes down to what they want, they go out and they start this mess. And they use their mouth to get these arguments going, these fights going, and I done see that happen. Use their mouth and they start mouthing off because they figure so and so got my man got my back and he'll do this and he'll do that. Dude is like, I'm not even nowhere interested in that. And then when you don't do it, the chick is like, I'm leaving you. See, that's abusive to me. That's abusive to me. You trying to get me into a fight just for what? That's abusive to me. You know, how about how about we just be in love and our own business? We can't do that. You got to go run your mouth every 5 seconds to somebody, and I got to come out the house and be so called about it. I'm tired. I'm tired. I go to work, I come home, I want to make love to my woman, watch ESPN. I can't do that. I got to go out here and wrestle with some goofball because of something that you started. This is what's in their head. This is what turns them on. Listen, I could care less about what turns a woman on. I don't care. I do not care about what turns a woman on. I can't. I done let beautiful women go. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care because they get you in trouble. Now, not every woman is like this, but there are a lot of them who are sick in their damn head who are like this. You know, they think that violence is sexy. Let me tell you something, violence is destructive. It is. And now I got to do time because I'm trying to show and prove to you that I'm the man. Nah, while you out here, and what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to tell you what happens. They're going to go out there and they're going to sleep with somebody else. And all the effort you put into proving to this goofball of a woman that you're somebody that you're really not equals up to nothing. Equals up to it's negative is what happens. You're the one who has to pay for the lawyer. You're the one who's sitting in jail with a bunch of other goofies who fell for the same thing. You're the one who is in trouble. Her, she's out here with her legs wide open to some to the probably to the guy that you got into the fight with. You think that doesn't happen? It does. So I'm telling you now, for those of you who are in these abusive relationships, it isn't always somebody just comes out of nowhere and just slaps the crap out of you for nothing. There's mental abuse, there's spiritual abuse, and if you find yourself in these abusive relationships, get out. If this person is getting off on getting you hyped and getting you angry, if they're doing stuff just to get your goat, they're just trying you just wait. Like, I dated this one woman and she would wake up and look at me and say, let's argue. What kind of life is that? Let's argue. This is what she would say. Let's argue. I'm like, I was dating this one young lady, and I told her, I said, "You're always angry. Why, like, why are you always angry?" And then she was upset because I didn't want to be with her anymore. You know, I chose another chick, and the girl that I chose was a quiet, non-combative. She didn't have a fighting bone in her body. And eventually they met. They didn't like each other either, but she was wondering why I was, dealing with the other chick. I was like, because the girl doesn't wake up mad. We wake up, we talk about, whatever, play guitar, get ready to go get something to eat. I mean, this young lady came at me like, I want you to be my husband. Now, yeah, she's married now, but not to me. But nonetheless, we dated. Then she started dating other people, and then she found herself a husband, got a kid, and she's good. So I'm just saying, for you ladies and men, just because someone looks good, they may even be good to you in bed. They may have a lot of money. If they start talking down to you just out of the blue, they start if they beat you up when you're down, if this man or woman is around, that's kind of loud. Listen, I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to help you young folks because some of y'all are in some abusive relationships. I met this one girl. I didn't date her though. I tried to. She was cute. She had a nice body. She had a little bit of money. I didn't care about her money though, but she thought I did. I didn't care about her money. You know, she thought I was after her money, but I wasn't, because she had two Lexuses. I didn't care about her money. I've dated girls who got houses. I was asked to I was asked a few times to be married to women who had money, like deep pockets, owning property. Like your little bit of money doesn't impress me, but nonetheless, uh, this one woman I was trying to date, she was in an abusive relationship where she would wake up and get herself all made up and whatever, get ready to head out the door, and the boyfriend would just pour milk all over her or something, just and make her do it all over again. And she would stay with him. I had this one young lady that I really loved, like I loved her deeply, deeply. It was like, stay with me. She wouldn't stay with me. She would run off to these guys who would sexually abuse her. She would last guy she's messing with would call her all kind of B words in front of her kids, would just abuse her, end up going to jail. She was still trying to support him from jail. And I'm like, that's the last time I dealt with her. After I heard that story, I was like, I'm not dealing with you no more because you're sick. You're sick. Like, I don't want you for a girlfriend, wife, nothing. Because I already know you're just going to leave me for someone who just hates you, hates himself, and you're just a spiritually sick person. And eventually, she left again, and abuse. It's a spirit, and if you don't watch yourself, you'll get sucked right into it. You will, and when you do, you'll find yourself on the other end of that abuse. You'll find people who have been abused and now they want to abuse you. Some of them want to use you, some of them want to be used, some of them want to abuse you, some of them want to be abused. That's real. Annie Lennox, she was really talking about something. Some people just They want to abuse you. They want you to feel what they're feeling. And you'll find a lot of it comes from people who've never been abused. They just want this. They want that energy. They want that negative spirit to bind with them. And then when it does, it just takes their whole life and it derails them. What did the woman who went to work every day, sweet, loving, ran into the wrong guy and now she is off the chain. You can't say nothing to her. She don't go to work no more. She's in the stuff she shouldn't be. She's completely gone. And people say, "Oh, it's because of sex." Well, sex has a lot to do. Sex is look. Sex is the bridge that spirits cross. When you find someone has changed, it usually is because of a sexual encounter. But you gotta understand, the sex itself is not the reason why that person changed. It's the spirits inside of the transformation. So spirits can jump on you from they can jump from person to person in a few different ways, through speech, but sex is one of the biggest ways a spirit can transfer from one person to another. Why? Because it is a spiritual act. Having sex with somebody is a spiritual act. And this is the reason why if you're just having sex with anybody, your heart becomes hard. You become numb. You don't have no feelings for other people. You don't want to you don't want to kiss and hold and cuddle and love and be daring. You have none of that in your system. Why? Because your heart is hard. It's a brick. Because all you're doing is just the act of sex. You're just performing it, but you have no conscience, no spiritual conscience of the destruction that you're committing to yourself. It's your boy Tone Tone. I'm out. God loves you.